You didn't start out in athletics. Your journey began with gymnastics, and you explored like a variety of sports: football, volleyball, swimming. Um, what made you focus solely on running?
Um, I think initially I just done it because my friends done it, my brother done it, and yeah, it was just like a great place to be with my friends and be with my brother, of course. But honestly, it grew on me over time. I think with gymnastics it was different. I loved it straight away, but with track it was definitely more of a slow burner. And yeah, it just grew on me over time. I liked the discipline of it, the dedication it required to improve, and I just stuck with it.
And obviously, your first big statement bursting onto the scene was the 2021 European Under 20 Championships. Sorry, how was that experience for you? Getting to like compete in your first major event.
I think at that time it was all very new to me. I didn't really understand the magnitude of any of the competitions I was running at. So everything was just exciting and new and exhilarating. And yeah, I was just enjoying track and enjoying the environment. And honestly, I didn't really even understand how big of a competition it was, to be honest. But yeah, it was all just fun at that point.
And then you won your first gold medal at the 2022 World Athletics Under 20 Championships, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's right.
Did you have a sense that you could like win your first gold medal coming into that event?
Definitely, I went in very confident. And again, I guess a little bit ignorant to how big the competition was, which in a sense was helpful in itself because I didn't realize how much of a jump dropping a second and a half, nearly 2 seconds to win actually was. So I went in very confident and yeah, obviously very happy to come away with a win.
And wasn't it the second fastest time by a British athlete, 51.5 seconds? How does it feel to be part of such like an elite group with Lindsay McDonald in like British athletics at that stage of your career as well?
Yeah, I think it's definitely very exciting. It definitely gives me a confidence boost that I can definitely take it a step further later on. So, yeah, I think it was definitely an important step to going further in my track career.
And then with the British Athletics Championships in 2023, made the final, finished third, earned a spot at the Under 23 European Championships in Finland. Was that the moment you realised you can compete with the best across any age group, making that step up?
Yeah, definitely. I think some of my first senior teams after British trials, because obviously 2022 I didn't run British trials because I had got injured, so I only done the junior competitions. So stepping up to British trials in 2023 and actually performing well was definitely a turning point where I was like, okay, I want to take it a little further.
And you went up against at that championships, you went up against Keely Hodgkinson, who's now Olympic champion, and you came out on top, winning gold. That must have been like a special moment, a special feeling.
Yeah, definitely. I think once you get the taste for winning, you want to keep it up for sure. So it was great to be able to run with Keely, such an inspiration in my own event. So yeah, it was a great experience.
And after that, you were selected for your first senior championships at the Worlds. How was that feeling when you found out you were in the team in Budapest?
Honestly, that one was a little bit bittersweet because I had honestly wanted to make the individual sport. And I wasn't too far off it. I believe the standard that year was 50.95, and it's dropped again so much by this time. But yeah, at that point it was 50.95, and I had run 51.04. So less than zero point 0.1, it was 0.09 off of the standard. So it was bittersweet. I was really happy to make the team, of course, and it was great to come away with 2 medals, my first outdoor senior championships. But yeah, I would have loved to make the individual team, but that's still a goal that I'm hunting down.
And I remember the race myself with the dramatic fall from Femke Bol. What was going through your mind when that happened? And then obviously when you crossed the finish line and realized you got your first senior medal.
Honestly, it's crazy watching that back because when I was actually living through the moment, everything felt like it was going in slow motion. So it felt like she was on the floor for ages, and I felt like I had been so far back in the race. So I was really just scrambling to make it to the line and secure that medal. But yeah, it's crazy to watch the race back in hindsight because it all happened so quickly. But happy to have come away with the medal regardless.
And in the same year, a big decision you made in terms of your personal life, in terms of studying economics and training at the University of Southern California. Um, you opted to choose that over Michigan. What was a key factor that influenced making that decision?
I think USC was always the dream school for me. It was my top choice. So I think I did come on a visit here, but they didn't have the scholarship available when I first visited. So when that spot opened up, I think it was pretty much a no-brainer. Although I was a little bit upset having to wait all the way till January because, of course, I did want to leave in September. But I think it all panned out well, and it was worth the wait.
And then I just want to, the first Olympic call up in 2024. You finished third at the British Athletics Championships. When you hear that news, you receive the news that you're part of the relay team for Paris. Who was the first person you told? What was like the first reaction you had to it?
Well, I was lucky that all my family was actually that British champ, so they all knew straight away. So I was happy to share the moment with them, with my siblings, with my parents, and just have my family there by my side. And knowing that I was going to the Olympics, and yeah, it was great to share it with them.
And when you first like arrived on Paris, how did you feel? Like, what was the experience off the track, but also on the track, being surrounded by like so many different athletes from around the world?
I think it was just so inspiring because as athletes, I think I'm not even just track athletes, but I think in most sports you don't get to be surrounded by other sports. So to be able to be surrounded by so many high performing athletes in all these different sports, it was definitely incredibly inspiring to see how much work and dedication and discipline it required to get to that point, and to also know that I was one of them. It was definitely a good feeling, but I walked away very inspired. So I was happy to be surrounded by so much hard work.
And how does it feel to officially be now known as Yemi Mary John, Olympic medalist, after obviously running in the heats and competed with such a great group of women?
Honestly, I'm still trying to take it in because when I hear that, it still sounds surreal. But yeah, definitely very excited to be able to call myself an Olympian, and hopefully in the LA Olympics, I'll be able to say a run in the individual event as well, not just the relay. But so happy to have been able to have the opportunity to run that relay with all those women that a lot of them I watched earlier on in my career.
And what about this season so far? How has it been going, the indoor season, getting ready, obviously, the World Championships in September, looking ahead to that? What does the 2025 kind of like schedule look like for you at the moment?
Well, I think it's very early on, so I'm very excited for this season, but it really has just started. So for now, it's just about staying locked in and focusing on the plan ahead. I'm still under 23s this year, so looking forward to hopefully go back to under 23 champs and re get re what's the word for it? Protect my title if that's the right word for it. So yeah, I'm looking forward to my last under 23 or last junior competition, but also, as you mentioned, Worlds in Tokyo, all the way in September. So it's a really long season, 9 months all the way through. So I'm just taking it one step at a time, trying to focus on now starting the outdoor season, which starts in about 2 weeks for me, and then going into NCAA nationals and then springboard of that into under 23s and again into Tokyo all the way in September.
And obviously training in America like your friend Amber Anning. How important has that been for you, like in terms of your career, in terms of developing as a young athlete?
I think it's been really important. It's taught me so much coming to LA. The landscape of sports in America is so different. And also, the level of competition is so high, which is great for me because that's what you need to improve as an athlete, to be surrounded by other great athletes. But also the focus they put and the resources they put into their athletes. There's so much offered here, so I'm definitely grateful to be able to have all that.
And in terms of if I was to say, right, perfect 2025 with the World Championships, in terms of with the the rest of this go like the summer going into the World Championships, what would it look like? Like what would be the perfect scenario? You're there on New Year's Eve going, this has been the perfect year for me as an athlete.
Um, a great question. I think definitely for one, it would be making the Tokyo World Championships in the 400 meters as well as the 4x4 as well. But to make it in my individual event, be my first senior team making the 400 meters. So that's definitely a priority for me. And then also, again, protecting my title at under 23 champs and being able to walk away from those junior championships feeling very accomplished in the time I was able to have as a junior athlete. But also performing at NCAAs at the end of the year. I've made nationals every year, but I've yet to make a final in the NCAA system. So that would be great.
And as a junior athlete, when you went to obviously your first Olympics, was there a particular person or athlete within the team that you looked up to that mentored you, that helped you through that feeling that had been there before?
Maybe not a specific one person, but I will say the whole team in general was very supportive and everyone gave great advice. And honestly, all the older athletes would look after everyone else and vice versa. People that had experience would really reach out and give great advice. So I was just grateful for the whole team. I think everyone was really supportive and looked out for one another. So I really appreciate the team.
And I wanted to speak about your work as an ambassador for Sporting Equals, obviously an organization that promotes diversity and combats racism in sport. What does like your role as an ambassador entail, and why is this cause so important to you?
I think it's mostly about just, again, as you mentioned, promoting diversity and equity in sports and bringing awareness to the fact that right now it's not necessarily an equal playing field. I think, especially at the Olympics, I was definitely exposed to um, a not so pretty side of athletics and athletic fans who often question why I'd run for British athletics or if I was actually British and all these other experiences that we experience in athletics as a whole across all these different sports. So yeah, I think it's mostly just about bringing awareness to the issue and having conversations around the topic, which I think is still very important.
And following the Olympics, like coming back and like continuing the work with Sporting Equals, is there a particular thing that you want to do to combat this?
Um, I think for one, I think it just goes back again to just having the conversation. So I think opening up more conversations and opening up the floor for people to actually talk about what their experiences were as athletes and on world stages, but even at lower levels, at grassroots levels, just starting to have those conversations and seeing how the change can occur and just raising awareness and creating more spaces where people feel safe to participate in the sport and people can discuss the experiences they have in their sport. So, yeah.
And you've lived in obviously the UK, Italy, America. How have these different like cultural experiences influenced the way you are as an athlete, as a person, the way you carry yourself?
I think it's definitely given me more of a multifaceted perspective on life in general, but definitely on athletics and the sports scene as well. Um, I think it's very interesting to see how each country operates their sporting sector and, you know, just the way sports is perceived in every country is very different, and the way athletes are received can be very different as well. So I think I've gained a lot of perspective on both life in general and the sporting industries in different countries.
And just finally, in terms of your training and how you continue to train, is the plan to continue obviously in the system you're in now and similar to like other British athletes are doing? There's been a lot of success in America. Do you think that's the way forward for British athletics?
I think not necessarily. I think there's a lot of space for British athletics to grow within the UK itself. I definitely think there can be a lack of funding, which is why a lot of people do move. I think I'm very well supported in America, which is definitely a privilege, but I think there's a lot of groups popping up in the UK now, and there's definitely a lot of potential. I don't think the American system is necessarily for everyone. I think it's very niche, and you should definitely do your research and be aware of what you're getting yourself into. But I do think there's space for British athletics to grow within the UK itself, but I think there's also great opportunity in America, and if you're compatible with it, I think it would be great to take up a sport if that's for you.